politics and my senior in many of the things that we are doing. But, Honorable Speaker, I feel that I need to put in a perspective of a newcomer in politics of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, while I really don't know how this country will be in a few years, I feel like we are changing tune and we are coming out in a way that we can even mess our democracy. Honorable Speaker, I want to call upon our senior leaders to embrace speaking in the rooms, and then they come out to tell us in very clear terms what is happening and what is going on in the country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was also very worried when I saw the Deputy President carrying his own bag. And I felt sad because if I was there, I could have carried for him the bag. Was he carrying or towing? He was carrying the bag, Honorable Speaker, and it looked like a bag that wouldn't fit even in the carrier side of the plane. And Honorable Speaker, I feel this is something that the majority leader must clarify to this House. Why would we have the Deputy President carrying a bag in a commercial flight? And Honorable Speaker, I also feel we are getting into the conversation of how to save on costs. And we need to embrace what the Deputy President has brought about, that we should be able to travel together with our colleagues who are not senior members of our society. But Honorable Speaker, we have bigger problems to think about. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say that in our community, Embu, right now we are reeling with a lot of poverty because of the ban of Mogoka, Honorable Speaker. And I feel this House, together with these members, are not doing enough to help us and listen to both sides of the divide so that my people don't die because of poverty, Honorable Speaker, when they were making a living out of this thing. Honorable Speaker, this is serious, and I want to say that we have to know how our people make money and not ignore the fact that they might even mess up their lifestyles. Honorable Speaker, while I'm finishing, I also want to say that reading the standing orders, I'm happy with your guidance that we should not, without a substantive motion, speak about characters of our senior leaders, especially leaders in the caliber of the Deputy President and the President. So we are still learning on how to handle these things, but I would really urge, even us here as members of Parliament, especially from this government side, we need to even have a kamukunji and speak and guide our leaders if they are not guiding us right. And that will really help us as we move on. And I hope the majority leader has heard me. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Junet? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, this matter that has been raised by Honorable Jared is really a matter of national importance, because we are dealing with the offices of the President and the Deputy President. The presidency. Office of the Presidency is saying, Onjala, the MP for Budalangi. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, I watched in the social media the Deputy President carrying a bag in the streets of Jomo Kenyatta. What struck me, Mr. Speaker, in that episode, as somebody who has traveled a lot, is the kind of bag the Deputy President was carrying. That one really struck me. That the kind of bag is not for the Deputy President. That bag is for something else. Another thing that struck me in that episode is what was the content of that bag, because the Deputy President could not even give it to his bodyguard. He had to hold it himself in person, Mr. Speaker. What could have contained in that bag, Mr. Speaker? I don't know whether a committee of this Parliament can get to know for us. What is the content of that bag that you cannot even trust with Ngunjiri Wambugu was behind him, that he held for me this bag, Mr. Speaker? I don't know whether Mr. Speaker, those are the two things that struck me in yesterday's episode politically. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, why are we discussing this matter here? The only place that can hold the presidency accountable is Parliament, Mr. Speaker. They are held accountable here, constitutionally. You know, Mr. Speaker, you can hold somebody accountable in the sense that if it is your responsibility to dismiss him from the job he has, then you are the only one who can hold him accountable. It is a clear provision in the Constitution that this is the house that can remove anybody who occupies those offices, Mr. Speaker, and you are a senior lawyer. Mr. Speaker, if what I am seeing or this trend I am seeing continues, you know very well, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution says a state officer must bring honor, dignity, and respect to the office he's holding. Mr. Speaker, you cannot demean the office you are holding and you expect to attract dignity and respect. Mr. Speaker, let's call a spade a spade. If you want to politic, that is fine. If you want to go and talk in a church, in a public burial place, that is fine. But not to the extent of demeaning the office of the Deputy President. Even the office of Member of Parliament cannot be demeaned, Mr. Speaker. When some of our colleagues misbehave, we take offense. When some of our colleagues here go to burials and behave in a manner that is unbecoming, a manner that a Member of Parliament should not behave, we take offense. We say, no, we talk to them, don't behave that way. As a whip, I guide them in my office. You can't behave like this. I don't know whether the executive has a whip. The whip of the executive now must come in. I don't know whether it is the majority leader who is the whip of the executive. But a majority leader, if somebody is not interested in any job, there are Kenyans who are interested in that job. Why don't you do something? We are here to execute it. There are many Kenyans who can perform.
Men and women.
And many Kenyans, men and women of high standard and caliber, including, no, I don't qualify because I'm not from Kenya Kwanza. But anybody else is qualified. Mr. Speaker, you know, Mr. Speaker, the deputy presidency is a very, very critical office. In our neighboring country, the president today who's running that country was a deputy president. She was a deputy president of President Magufuli. And today she is a president of the Republic of Tanzania. So that tells you how important that office. That is not the kind of office that can be occupied by somebody who is pulling a trolley in the corridors of Jomo Kenyatta Airport. It's not possible. So, Mr. Speaker, why we are talking as a parliament, because it is here that we discuss matters of concern to the people. And surely, Deputy President pulling a trolley is of matters of concern to the public. The discussion here is, why did he use the Kenya Airways, the public transport? That is neither here nor there. The issue is pulling a trolley. The issue here is, are we as a country having the presidency, giving the presidency the kind of respect that it deserves, Mr. Speaker? And I'm not absolving blame from anybody. Anybody who has not done his work, he can be held accountable. But Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by saying this. Mr. Speaker, people take these offices casually. And somebody thinks that if I become a deputy president, I cannot be held accountable by anybody. A member of parliament will hold you accountable. And the Constitution has given him that provision to hold you accountable. Any member of parliament, by the way, it doesn't matter whether you are Kenya Kwanza or Azimio, any member of parliament can hold you accountable for actions and anything that you speak. I don't want to digress because the speaker has told, let's concentrate